Welcome to the live podcast. This is space for real conversations about mindset, discipline, growth, and the process of building something meaningful. If you want to go deeper, you can find exclusive content, bonus part of episodes, and behind the scenes on Hero Hero. Link in the description. Let's begin. Hello, everybody. My name is Tony and welcome to the next live podcast. Today's guest is Ben Piper, author, man, health advocate, and voice helping man. Liberal strength, discipline, and confidence in the modern world. Ben, welcome to the live podcast.
Thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So, what is your book about in one sentence?
It's about unmasking the assault on masculinity, which I have uncovered is by design and not just accidental situation of the era of time that we're in.
Why did you feel this book had to exist?
It's something that I believe not everyone is going to notice, and I seem to be, to my own discovery, very good at pattern recognition. And like most, I was just coining everything up to coincidence. I know that people can sense that things just aren't right at the moment in time with the way dynamics between men and women and just, people in the workforce, our entertainment, everything seems to be off. Some people call it a clown show. This is just outside of government stuff. But I always chalked it up as being coincidence. Dating is not really great right now. Okay, that's one thing. And then, of course, people in the workforce and then women, things are going wrong there between the two of them. That's another thing. And then the media and our entertainment with movies and TV shows, things to be getting a bit skewed there with men getting demonized and women being elevated. And I'm just noticing that every single thing, every single institution seems to be doing the exact same thing. And I started noticing a pattern that not a lot of other people were noticing. And people were noticing these things were happening, but to the level where they could possibly all be connected. And that's where I wanted to dive in and do a bit more research into seeing if there was actually a connection as to why all of this is happening right now in terms of discrimination towards men and masculinity specifically.
My next question is, what problem in modern man were you trying to solve?
Essentially, testosterone. Testosterone, I believe, is the very root cause as to why a lot of men were struggling right now. Everyone can dial it back and peel back the layers of the onion. Some might think, okay, he's just gone through some stuff or he's having a bad breakup. He's not very good with attracting women, so his love life might be an issue. And the amount of men I've spoken to, and I've been to men's groups, I've been to men's seminars, mental health issue seminars for guys, and then they're peeling back the layers so far, but they're not going far back enough. So they're trying to just, remedy the symptoms rather than looking at the root cause and curing that. And that's what I wanted to do, and peeling back everything. And I realized that most of everything that men are suffering from right now is due to lack of testosterone. So, okay. So one individual's lifestyle is in their hands, but I'm seeing it everywhere at the same time. And this can't be just a coincidental thing. So I dove into researching, okay, what could possibly be nerfing a man's testosterone across the board, across the nation. And yeah, from what I revealed, it's quite, what I discovered is quite alarming. And it seems to be that everything is stemming back through sort of lack of testosterone via the things we consume in terms of food and drink, even what we breathe. And all of it's having an effect, and it can also be passed down generationally. And I've realized that 3 generations of this, tracing it back to where all this started beginning. And yeah, it's no wonder we're in the situation we're in. Because I can guarantee you now, if men were as testosterone filled as their grandpas were, we wouldn't be in this mess right now.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. My grandpa have so much testosterone. Like he was like testosterone, like really have big testosterone. So my next question is, what is this book for? Who is this book for and who is not for?
Anyone can read this book, but to be clear, this book isn't going to hold anyone's hand, not whatsoever. This book is going to be raw, it's going to be brutal, and it's going to be filled with a bunch of bitter pills to swallow. Ones I've had to swallow too. I didn't like what I found and discovered when doing this research, but It's what needs to be. It is the reality, unfortunately, backed up with data, which I wish hadn't, because it only confirms what I actually feared. But this book is for anyone that wants to go, is not buying the narrative that's been put out there by the governments, by the media, by institutions about you have to live your life this way, or this is bad, but this is good. You should champion this and you should stop being this way. In every realm of life which is being targeted, if you feeling that, no, I'm not buying this crap, but fear of speaking out because of retribution, which is another thing, then this book is for that person, whether it be man or woman, because it's not just a war on masculinity, which is the title of the book, it's also a war on femininity, purely to destroy the family. And all of this stems from control. So anyone who feels that they can't put a finger on it, but they know something's wrong, or they're not buying the narrative that's being put out there, this book is for you. Now, I've tailored the book specifically as if I'm talking about men to men, but there are portions of the book where I talk to women as well. So it is for anyone. But I am leaning towards a male audience because men are the solution. We're being plastered as a problem, but to fix things, we are the solution. And it's about time more men realize that, because we're needed now more than ever.
That's true, and I think I am happy that more books is coming out, like this type of books, because we don't need any more like fictions and love story and this. I think we need these books. We need the books we can be better man or woman, but actually in this type man. So I think it's very good to we have authors like you, because this can be very offended, but it must be done. Somebody must done this.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did right. And it's like there's always going to be room for stories, all right, for escapism and so there's no that's one thing. But for the non-fiction side of things, everyone and their mother's coming out with a self-help book to cure one specific problem. And I get it, if you want to fix one problem that someone has, but again, all you're doing is just putting a band-aid over a cut. You're not, it goes deeper than that. And this really isn't a self-help book as much of an awareness book with solutions inside as well. But in order to fight a war, you need to be able to understand it. And that's kind of where I'm coming from within this book, is this is a battle. You need to understand fully what's going on, why it's happening, how it's happening, and the best means of fighting back. And that's what this book entails.
So right now I want to talk about the truth behind the book. So my first question is, what truth about modern man is the hardest for people to accept about modern?
Probably the most bitter pill for anyone to swallow that most men and probably most women will actively deny is that men are, by nature, the disposable sex. That's the reason why there's so many double standards, right? These double standards do not stem from societal change, okay? They stem from a natural balance. So whereas there is the double standards that women benefit from, there will be an equal double standard that men will benefit from, but will be completely different in terms of what they are. So the argument normally comes along whenever I present it, says, oh, you can't compare these two things. On the surface, I agree, because they're two completely different things, but the comparison and the weight of the comparison lies within the demonization that the other sex faces, the sex that doesn't benefit from this double standard. And it's that level, that's where it can be comparable to. But unfortunately, in nature, men are the disposable sex, whereas women aren't. So this is the reason why men are nowhere near as fiercely protected by society as women are. This is why it feels like no one gives a damn about men. Men are, just insignificant. They're useful. They have a purpose. But if they're not fulfilling that purpose, then they're basically invisible. And it's true, unfortunately, even with a society that's literally built right now to cater to the fact that we do not need to survive. We're building all these modern conveniences where we no longer need to make fire with sticks and hunt. Everything's very easy right now. And because of AI, everything's getting even more easier. The need for survival isn't as strong as what it was back in the day, nor are we, despite current events going on a world-ending event level threat. We're not in the middle of a world war yet. So the need for masculine urgency isn't as strong naturally in society as it would be during a time during like World War. And so I get that, but we're seeing levels of masculine decline and testosterone decline that, as I say in the book, would be comparable to a chemical weapon strike. This isn't just some sort of natural steady decline. The natural decline will be this, and then at some point it's just on that. And that's where I've seen the drop. And I'm like, no, there's more to it than this. So the fact that we are the disposable sex is a bitter pill we need to swallow, because that will make so much sense as to why society, no matter how much society encourages us to be more open about our feelings and our problems, but knowing full well the moment that we do, we get slapped down again. And this is why society will never, ever take a man's problem as serious as a woman's problems, because of this fact. Women are far more protected naturally because they bring life and can bring on the next generation.
Yeah, sorry, I was like listening to you and I was like, oh my God, it's really interesting. So,
Thank
do
you.
you think masculinity is under attack today, and why?
Yes, I do, for one main reason, control. So the main theme throughout the book is to prove and show how many different ways that we're being attacked simultaneously has the same end game. They're just doing it from different angles. There isn't one sort of big weapon you can launch at us and will nerf us, not in the way that they're trying to do it. It'll be too obvious. Like I say, we're not in the time of swords and shields and stuff like that. And we've gone even past the days of running in with machine guns and assaults. We're now in the middle of drones and missiles. But mainly, if you want to control a civilization, you start with the strongest men. Okay, because they're the first line of defense. Because the strong masculine protects the divine feminine, the female. But both together, the ultimate tag team of unity, both protect the family, the next generation. Okay, but when that ends, when you destabilize that, the home breaks, and a broken home cannot fight back. And as I say, as part of the book, is the unfortunate tragedy in all of this is the children that are watching this happen in real time, and they're taking that, what they see and what they learn, and they're taking it into their lives, and suddenly you've got 3 generations of recycled degeneracy happening. And that's how you maintain control. You slowly poke at men, telling them they're shit from every aspect, from the courts to classrooms to media to entertainment to the workplace, everything. You start plying them with chemicals, saying, "Oh, you feeling depressed? Here, take a pill instead." Now, that's going to solve all your problems, believe me. Open up. Basically, no matter where a man turns, he's getting a finger pointed in his face for whatever reason. And we're left with very few avenues to travel down. And if you corner a man too much, he's either going to do one or two things. He's either going to surrender or he's going to check out. And unfortunately, that's what's happening. And of course, with that, then that leaves the women vulnerable to be manipulated. Okay. And basically enslaved, but the modern version of enslavement, which is again manipulation. And now they're picking up the slack for the lack of masculine energy out there. And unfortunately, this is causing havoc now in relationships and marriages and families. And a lot of families now are being broken. Children are being raised by a single parent, and most of the time now, these newer generations, all they have is women around them. They have women at home, and they have women in the classroom, and they won't ever see a strong masculine figure, and probably not until they're 18, and they just don't know what to do with that because they've had no masculine guidance from them since as a kid. And then they have kids, and then you can see the chain going on and on and on, and that's where we are right now. And that's how you keep control, because I guarantee you that's how you stop revolutions. If there was masculine men being born and bred and continuously raised, we wouldn't be letting this happen because we have the strength and power to end it, not just with the vote.
I think I am Gen Z. I'm the one of the youngest generation. I'm not the youngest, but I'm still one of the youngest. I think we are the last generation who is get normal families.
I truly believe that.
Yes, my generation is last generation with like normal family.
Yeah, you got the tail end of some sanity being in the world before it all went to shit. Pardon my French. It started going that way. It basically started going downhill in my generation, and then it continued into yours. But you still, you were able to catch the tail end of it, and then the generation after that, it's just cooked.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because it's kind of like, we always have this, even when we look back at our parents and our grandparents, backing my day, things were different. They were fun stories of comparison to, how it was for them. We didn't have this, and it all stems from technology. Technology has amplified a lot of this, especially with the internet and social media. And I was lucky enough to be in a time frame, and I guess you were the tail end of it as well, where we came from. I got to see the internet come into fruition, so I got to live a life outside of the internet, outside of the mobile phone. And the coolest thing we had in our house was a video game console. And a satellite TV box. I remember when we first got one of those, I thought, this is the best thing ever. So I get and now that, technology is advancing more, newer technologies are coming out quicker and quicker and quicker, and we can barely keep up.
Yeah. I think after my generation it is going to like speed down.
Yeah.
Speed down, yeah. Yeah, because I am the last generation who is grow up without mobile phone.
Yeah.
I'm the last. Not like everyone, but is not that common because I was young. Like I was born in 2004, so and that phone is not like big high right now.
Yeah. Yeah, they were still they weren't nowhere near as like the iPhone weren't around back then. So it was still very much a little handheld, and the most advanced thing we could do was text messages and a bit of Snake, on a Nokia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like even then you've seen the birth of the modern mobile phone come in and all of that take off. So yeah, you get what I mean.
So my next question is, what is the biggest lie men are taught growing up?
That men and women are equal.
That's true.
Yeah, it's unfortunately the men and women are equal. We may look different in our physical appearance, but that we're equal in the way we think. And don't get me wrong, there was a time period I knew physically we were different, but there was a time period I thought, as individuals, as people, that we thought the same way. I knew that women were in touch more emotionally, but I just thought, okay, in terms of love and the way we thought and the way of feelings and trust and all this sort of stuff, I thought, okay, I couldn't understand why, I say a woman weren't thinking the same way as I was when it came to love or something like that. And it was a bitter pill for me to swallow, that we see the world through completely different lenses, even down to safety and danger and consequence. I can't tell you. And I really can't tell you how much of a red pill, and I hate using that word, it was, of just how different we are in those aspects. And it's all down to the way we're wired. We are built bigger and stronger because we are built to face the threats of the world and shield the women from them. This is why. And this is a natural thing. And it's a privilege I take on board. And a lot of men, unfortunately, don't see that and would hide under covers from danger just as much as women would. And I get it, there's a bravery aspect to it. But for instance, where I worked in an office, simply like fire safety and fire exits, and making sure that the clients and things were going to be safe, and that took priority whenever they were hosting an event, didn't even enter their minds. They were more concerned about how the event looked and if it was pretty and stuff like that. When I said, no, but you're blocking a fire exit. You can't have this the way you want it. Oh, but don't worry. And it's like, I can't take that risk. If I'm the one setting this thing up, doing the physical work, I can't take that risk. I'm sorry, but I have to. And they just did not get the danger and consequence aspect of it. And that and then I realized that there was much more to it than that. And that's just how different we as human beings, we are so different. There's a reason why the term men are from Mars and women from Venus exists. It's like, if it weren't down to, we wouldn't literally be different species if it weren't the fact that we weren't, that we are human. But that's how different, internally and mindset that we are.
I think.
And unfortunately,
I think because I play chess. I play a lot of chess. So yes, you have true. Like men need to protect and this, but queen need to protect his peace. Queen is most important. Piece is the most powerful species on the chessboard. Because the queen, like in real life, if your life is mess, you have a woman there. This is your safe place. This is not for war. This is when you come back home from war. And
exactly.
I think this is very important to people understand that. And because yes, I have a brother. They're gonna fight with me, die with me. This, but if I want to peace and quiet, I need a woman. because in that space is the like peace and quiet.
Agree. And you see similar behavior patterns with mothers and their babies, right? So they say when you sleep, the baby will sleep. And it's kind of like one's relaxed and know that they're safe from danger.
Yeah,
Even though they're ready to jump in it in case anything happens, they're relaxed in that moment that they can
Yeah.
shut their eyes. The men are the same thing. So it's like, and a woman can bring a man peace to where it's like, okay, we're stable now. There's no fires. I can calm my mind. And with that, I can rest my eyes and I can enjoy a moment. And it's like, yeah, we can literally fortify a fortress to make sure that that physically happens. But inside, to make it lovely and to make it, peaceful, just so that there's no, we can dial down the red alert in our systems. It's always on as men that we're so used to it. We can just flip. Yeah, we need female energy for that. We need feminine energy.
Yeah. We need
It helps that we can survive. And I watched a clip and I absolutely agree of a female life coach. You may be familiar with her. Her name's Teal Swan. And she was asked, can femininity survive without masculinity? And she said, no. But she said, can masculinity survive without femininity? In terms of surviving, yes. But you have no idea, but we can do that. We can harden ourselves to survive, but surviving and finding peace are two different things.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, so it's kind of like one needs the other.
Yes.
One may not need the other, but in order to last, to absolutely last and to bring it back down again, yeah, men need their peace. They need something to worth fighting for, because the moment a woman can give us that and we recognize that this woman's given us that, we will fight tooth and nail to make sure that she is protected and has everything she needs, because it's a willingness to, no, she's mine, she's my home, she's my peace, and I won't let anything happen. You get the best out of both of us when we can find that in each other again.
True. That is absolutely true. And I think, but yes, it's true. I cannot say anything else. It's very true. It's very true. Next question is, why are so many men lost today?
So many men are lost today. A lot of people, and again, this is another mainstream narrative, and I agree and disagree with it. A lot of what you'll hear this term being floated around called a loneliness epidemic.
Yeah.
But that could be implied as men are, struggling to find a wife or a partner. Men have been, very few men actually end up. It's crazy how we think about it. Around us, we always see, men and women getting married. Mum and dad were married, they made divorce. Even if they get divorced, they still met someone and got married and had you. And it's kind of like you see it everywhere. People just get together and people think that's just the norm. Eventually it will happen for me and stuff like that. You have no idea how many men, and have been for decades, that go throughout their entire lives and die alone. Right? It doesn't happen for everyone. And that's not new. That's not new. It feels new because everyone's picking up on the disconnection between men and women right now. And obviously it makes good clickbait topics online. But where I disagree, even though it is a real issue, where I disagree, men can be alone, because being alone and being lonely are two different things as well. We can survive alone, but being lonely, that's just us screaming for some company because we're getting fed up of talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
We're pissing ourselves off. It's like, shut up, brain. I don't want to talk to you right now. And this is why you see it in the movie Castaway with Tom Hanks when he befriends a volleyball and calls it Wilson and pretends it's talking back to him. That's what happen to men with when they're into loneliness. But he survived alone. But what I feel is happening is a purposelessness plague. We've lost our purpose because our purpose is being outsourced to everything else. The very reasons we are driven to achieve masculine things like building empires, to protecting, to fighting, all of it's being outsourced. We're not as needed now because of technology as we were back in the day. And a lot of men are lost because they don't have a purpose and don't know what their purpose is, because we always find our purpose when we're in the service of something greater than ourselves. It's like, this is why I'm here. This is what I need to do. Unfortunately, we can't find that until we find ourselves first, right? It starts with us. So that's why I say a lot of men who are lost right now, they need to work on that. You are needed. You do have a purpose, and that purpose begins with you, the one in the mirror. It starts with the one in the mirror first. Once you get your mind, your body, and your home grounded, then you can start chiseling out a name for yourself and planting it somewhere permanent.
I think I want to go back about loneliness. That reminds me from Tulsa King, if you know that series. Tulsa King and the Sylvester Stallone.
With Stallone.
Yeah. Said the worst curse you can be on someone is to be wrong. And I understand that because like people are communicative. People are need to be together.
Yeah, we're
And
social.
yeah, we social. And I think we have absolutely true. A lot of men are alone. Not like alone just from the woman, but alone from other men.
Absolutely.
And
You're dead right. Sorry, Graham.
and this is very, very wrong because world will eat you alive. So yes, I see your point. We can be alone and we can survive, but how wrong?
Yeah,
How wrong
exactly.
we can survive and how wrong we can function and we cannot win this life alone. So we need someone.
Absolutely.
We need brotherhood for war and for understanding what's going on like men,
Hmm.
and we need woman for if you are sick, you are sick. If you are sick, you cannot call your boys. You will call your girl.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it is true.
this is my point about this.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's not just being alone because, I mean, don't get me wrong, we all crave the company of the opposite sex for survival mainly. Obviously, if you swing a different way, then you might feel it that way too in terms of your personality. But for many reasons, just for, a procreation, of course, the physical act of it, we're wired to want it all the time, and it gets to us when we can't have access to it as much as we want. Also, the company side, like you say, with the nurturing side of it, not necessarily in a motherly way, but like you
Yes.
say, it's bringing peace to the home.
Yes.
Outside of that, you're 100% right, is men need other men to
Yes.
draw from. We ain't always going to have it figured out. We ain't always going to be able to tap into those natural instincts because we are social. We're tribal. And we're not tigers. If you compare us to the cat family, we're more lions. We have a pride. And we need that around us. So yeah, a man can survive alone, but only up until he decides to give up or his body allows. He only has his lifespan. That's it, to really push himself further and to go further and to challenge the way he thinks and to teach him new lessons. And just the camaraderie of social interaction. Yeah, we need men. And that's another aspect of masculinity that's getting targeted, is that a lot of our spaces where men could get together is being attacked also. We're being split apart. They're either being infiltrated by women, letting women in because they're banging at the door, apparently, and we let them all in and like, oh, this is nice, and they start decorating, and suddenly we're being, it's not the place anymore. Or they're being completely closed, the roads are being closed down and we can't travel down them anymore. Like here in London, and I saw a clip from Andrew, I know he said the same thing, but I've been saying it, noticing it as well, is the pub. The pub is a place where men got together. Sure, we weren't doing anything good with our bodies. We're smoking and drinking. But for here,
It is.
the banter, the camaraderie, the debates, the conversation, it's also another place to meet women, the opposite sex. It was just a great social place. But those are closing now. Everywhere's getting shut down. And that's another aspect. Any youth centers or cigar clubs or anything. The church is another big one that's being affected right now. And it's crazy. And so, like, you're absolutely right. Men need other men to draw from.
They need.
And not just the female company. We need male company.
Yes.
And a lot of men are feeling like they don't have anyone around them.
Yes.
And even online, even though it's kind of where we're finding each other again, it does affect us because at the end of the day, they're not there in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
We're still, like yourself, you're not here in front of me. So it's just thank you for telecommunications. But, it's a start. The next phase is for, like, obviously Facebook communities, any groups that you can form online, if you can find local members to get together in your local memberships.
Yeah.
As often as possible.
Yeah.
Bear me 1 second. It's almost night and I'm going to turn the light on.
Okay. Okay.
I'm going to main room, not the one I had on just now. So 2 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. Do you like this question so far?
Hopefully that's
Yeah. Do you like this question so far?
Yeah, all good. Yeah, they're good questions. It's all about the topics because you're dead right. It's all of these topics are the reasons why I wrote the book. Is to try and address them.
Yeah.
And let me just get one more.
It's good.
Blame me out, I know.
It's good.
You're right, yeah. I'll try and
It's
get
good.
the room light on me as much as possible.
Yeah. So next question is, what happens to man who never finds his purpose?
They shrink. Essentially. Now, that goes as a loaded word, but basically what it means is they shrink within themselves, they isolate, they throw themselves into different areas of that they feel that they can harness some control, such as like video games, or they might go into now subscription services for adult content just
Yeah,
to
like
find,
OnlyFans or something like that.
OnlyFans and the other platforms too. And yeah, any sort of realm, whether it be digital or any whatever medium they can, or a hobby, they might go all in on a hobby, or they might throw themselves all in at their work, or they check out entirely. And unfortunately, that last one happens way too much. Yeah. And yeah, so these are the sort of pathways they go either to alcoholism, drugs,
Yeah.
or they go into crime. They'll find some sort of community in the places where you really shouldn't be wanting to look for a community. There's so many different avenues, not great ones, where men go when they can't find a purpose.
True.
You know?
It's absolutely true because if you don't have a purpose, you are just living, but you are
Yeah,
just existing. You are not
yeah,
truly living, and that is so that is so like bad for your soul.
yeah. Absolutely. Your soul needs some
Yes,
mileage too.
yes, yes,
Absolutely, and it's absolutely right. And it's a lot of what we don't take for granted is that our soul and our bodies are two very different things. I know and I'm not trying to get religious here, but I truly believe, and again, I hate using the word believe, but we as people, what makes you you and what makes me as individuals, we are in this, like we're piloting this meat suit like a
yeah,
Jaeger from Pacific Rim, right?
yeah,
Like this. But we don't realize that our bodies have its own default settings
yeah,
and they interfere with our decision making all the time. And that's our natural instincts. But our soul still needs some mileage too,
yeah.
as I
That's
said
true.
before, like
That's true.
travel or to put yourself through things, to challenge yourself, to say, I can do this or I can't do this, but I will do this eventually. And you're absolutely right. So the soul needs to take some hits.
Yeah, you
It
need.
needs some healing, and yeah, it needs a suntan as well. Just that suntan happens to be love.
Right now, I want to talking about a personal story
Okay.
because I think a lot of people want to know more things about you. So let's get it. What moment in your life changed how you see yourself as a man?
It's a few moments, but the latest one we'll start with there is when my father passed away, and which was in 2021, year into COVID. Yeah, about a year into COVID. And yeah, he unfortunately, before COVID hit, was diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. He was given 6 months without chemo and 18 months with. And so he took it. And seeing him go through the pain of what chemo can do, because I don't want to, if anyone, your listeners it might know this, how chemo works is it's like taking a shotgun to your cancer. It's killing the cancer, but it's destroying your body at the same time. It's just like, pow, it's destroying everything. So by the time it's killed the cancer, you're destroyed also. And it was destroying my dad massively. And watching him go through that was horrible. The whole life readjustment, I pretty much shut down any form of. I had one of my last sort of major relationships during that period, and it was like, no, I can't do this anymore. I need to focus fully on giving my time to my family now. This is where I had to pause my life for about a good 6 to 8 years, and I'll do it all over again. And when he got the treatment and they gave him the all clear, a year later it came back, but they were able to get on top of it quicker with a new medication. So it weren't nowhere near as destructive, which was a new treatment, which was more like taking a sniper rifle to
Yeah,
the cancer. It was more direct in attacking. And unfortunately, he was still going through this treatment, and then COVID hit. And unfortunately, all the hospitals prioritized
yeah,
treating COVID patients,
yeah,
and a lot of cancer patients were left to the side. And unfortunately, his cancer came back aggressively and it claimed him in 2021. And watching him go through that I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. And that really, really sort of changed everything in terms of like, okay, I'm one of these guys that pissed away his 20s drinking, chasing girls and, relationships and dating and having sex. And my work and career, I wasn't taking as seriously as what I should. I was just making sure I had money coming in. I wanted to progress and get more money. But I weren't leveling up as much as someone in their 20s really should, especially now. And then, of course, my life paused for most of my 30s. So it's only really now into late 30s and into my 40s that I'm like, okay, we got to knuckle down some shit here, right? So I've got other family I need to cater for now because that responsibility is on me. And yeah, so it's really changed everything
I'm sorry to hear that.
about my views.
I'm sorry to
That's
hear
all
that.
right, mate. No
I'm
problem.
sorry, but yes, it's I hear a lot of like when you are not man, today your father die. I hear
Yeah.
a lot of like things, and yeah, it's. I think it's true. I think when Andrew Tate said himself, you are still a student. When your dad is here, you are here still a student.
Absolutely.
So yeah,
He's always going to have those years on you. He's always going to let you know what the world was like back then, and
yeah,
the whole learn from our mistakes or don't let
yeah,
history repeat itself. All of these things
yeah,
come in, and he's the man of the main reasons. Now, I know there's a lot of men out there that may not have a father in their life that might still be around, like, we never knew him or whatever happened, or might have a really cool stepdad or may not even have a dad. I only can speak for me. My dad is my hero. And yeah, it weren't easy. He was away for a lot of my childhood on work. But, and I missed him, but then he was around. And yeah, we didn't always see eye to eye. We fought like hell all the time. But I've never seen someone be so brave. He's a man that could do anything. He's one of those old school guys where you just give him a pencil and a ruler and he'll make a garden shed out of nothing.
yeah.
And it won't even be made of wood, it'll be made of concrete. And like, how did you do this? Anything he could do. And I was just in awe of this man. And I was like, if I could just be half of what you are, I'll be happy. And it was like one of the last conversations I had with him. And it sounds cliche as hell, but I guarantee you it's how it went down, because it made me realize something. And he said, Ben, I just want you to be happy. Because I said to him, look, I'm sorry, I wanted to be a lot further in my life than where I am at the moment before you passed. And I feel like I haven't made you proud. And he goes, no, that's bullshit, Ben. I just want you to be happy. You have made me proud, and I just want you to be happy. And I said, look, I don't think what I want is to make you proud. And what I realized what he meant by that was I need to make myself proud.
Yeah, that's true.
I need to make myself proud first.
You,
Instead of even when it's your dad, instead of chasing his approval, is making sure I'm proud of myself. And that's what really sort of galvanized me into getting my head into gear. It was like, no, I need to be proud. And I wasn't. I had done things that I was proud of. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. But in terms of just me and where I was like, nah, I need to work on this. And that's
I
why a
think
lot of men, I think, yeah, go on.
you are the most important person in your life. Is me? Is like you. You are the most important
Yeah.
person in your life. No, your mom, nobody. And we forget it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. I heard this myself, actually, touching upon what you just said, was said to me when I was in my late teens, early 20s by a gentleman I used to work with. And he goes, Ben, you are the most important person in your life. Exactly verbatim the way you said it. And I honestly did not know what he meant by that. I thought, okay, but what about these people who we're also taught how to put others before you? And it's like, no, everyone else comes second to you, including your own family. And what he meant by that was just making sure you're good here and in health, because if you're not good here or in health, you're no good to anyone else.
That's true. That is
You know,
100% true.
you can't be helpful unless you're good with yourself.
Yeah. And how old are you?
Have a guess. I'm joking now.
Okay.
No. I play that game with the ladies because they always do it on us. Guess my age. You're,
At
and they're
20.
like,
At 20 is the
yeah,
safest. 20 is the
yeah,
safest.
just do that. No more, no higher. And no, I'm 42.
42? Wow.
I know. I don't work it, do I?
I am 21.
21.
Yes.
It's literally double. Good Lord. Well, considering you have short hair and you've got a beard coming on, here's a look at where it could be in 21 years' time.
Oh my God. I
It's
hope
like,
not.
it's like you're talking to the future right now.
Oh my God.
Hey, I do well. I do all
Yeah,
right. I do all right.
like you are more handsome than 95%
Hey,
people in your age. So,
I was a mess when I was a teenager. Don't worry. But when I was in my 20s, you will fill into everything, and you're already halfway there, dude. You ain't a bad looking chap at all, and you won't.
okay,
You're good.
thanks, bro.
Yeah.
So my
good.
next question is: were you ever big, lost, or without directions?
Yeah, big time. But not so much as I've sort of always avoided depression. I've always found something. I'm a creative guy. I love doing things with my hands. I love making things. Love creating things. Like, for instance, I'll give you a quick example. I was the only one in my friend group that was never bored during COVID. I always had something to do because I found something to do. So in terms of not being bored and that driving you into a realm of depression, that never really affected me. But I could feel it coming on the horizon. Like going back to when my dad was ill, one of the things that really helped me get through that was seeing how he was dealing, not just with the pain, but with the boredom in between hospital visits. Because you have to understand, he's at home, he can't do anything. So watching how he handled the time and the mindset and watching what he was doing really sort of helped me get through watching it go through him. So in terms of direction, I have been one that never really knew what he wanted to do with his life. In terms of, I never had there were things I wanted to do. I was good at basketball. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a pro basketball player. It's easier if you're in the US, but in the UK, not so much. And it was like, oh, I was good at art, so I want to be a comic book artist. Yeah, not so much, considering a lot of big comic book artists like Marvel and DC artists are pretty much out of a job right now, and because the woke industry has infected that. So I'm good I didn't go down those avenues. So it's like, in terms of career goals in direction, I'm always more a grafter. I always wanted to do more with my hands. I could never really sit behind a desk. And I always found that ironic that becoming an author is doing just that, sitting
Yeah.
behind the desk and typing on a computer. But as long as I'm doing something and I'm in control of the reason why I'm behind a computer, I'm okay with that. I just can't, yeah, I can't be behind a computer when I'm working for the man
Yeah,
on a
I
nine to
understand. I
five,
understand.
because then it's controlled.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm better doing
Hmm.
things physically, because it keeps me moving.
Yeah.
But locking something down, so purpose, I had a loose purpose, but I wanted to narrow it down. You know what I mean? I wanted to find somewhere I belonged. Where I didn't have that moment where this is it. This is why I'm here on this earth, to do this. And I saw other people getting that, and I was always jealous.
Yeah.
And it's
Understand.
taken me a long while, but I feel like this is absolutely, and just exploring the avenues where I can do that. And yeah.
That's nice. So my next question is, what was your lowest point mentally?
Mentally, oh, good question. I've been through a hell of a lot of pain physically. I'm not comparing war stories with those who've lost limbs or anything like that, but essentially, let me put it to you this way. My face, you don't see it on camera right now until I show you, but my face is a literal roadmap of pain. Everything, I've had about six operations, all of them, most are to do with my eyes, and all of it's to do with external trauma. Nothing I was born with or contagious. It's all been brutal trauma. And even then, I would say my lowest point mentally, because that can put you into a bad place. It's like, oh shit, my face is scarred to crap. I've just been through this pain. That's going to really drag you down mentally. And that was when I was a young man. That was when I was a kid coming into my adulthood. But I'd say mentally, it had to be probably a year after my dad passing. So it weren't during the time of my dad passing. It was a year after. I'll tell you why. It was coming up. It was literally on the first anniversary of his passing. I then found out that one of my childhood heroes committed suicide. Okay. And I'll tell you who that is. And it's a gentleman called Jason David Frank. Have you ever heard of the Power Rangers?
Yes.
The early ones? He used to play the Green Ranger. He was the coolest man
Yeah.
ever as a kid. And I was like, oh my God, you're so damn cool. And he was just brilliant. So as a kid, loved the guy. And then obviously you grow up and you move on to different things. But I started, when internet came about, I started, okay, you get these things, where are the cast now with their lives from these things that you used to
Yeah.
love as a kid? I was like, okay, yeah, what are these guys doing? I saw Jason David Frank, they're leaning into the very thing that's defined them for the rest of their lives. It's like Daniel Radcliffe leaning into always being Harry Potter.
Yeah.
He leaned into it. He went to all the conventions, for the kids like me who grew up and had kids, and bringing their kids to him and say, hey, son, you see that man right there? He was my hero as a kid. And he leaned into that and just brought joy to his fans, even when, like 30 years later, he was teaching kids martial art lessons. And I thought, you know what? Respect to you. I'm going to follow you, because not only were you a hero in your character back then, you're a damn good man now. And then I found out that he committed suicide because he was going through a horrible divorce. And that broke me. On top of it being in the same week as my dad's passing. And then a guy at work at the time came in and said, I need to tell you this. The office block next to us, yeah, I just witnessed someone jump out of the building and splat on the floor. I'm like, you are kidding me right now. And he goes, yeah, I heard the crunch. I looked and there he was, and everyone was screaming. And I was like, I'm only hearing this story. I can't imagine what he's going through, having to witness it. But I'm like, it just sod's law that I, right now, going through what I was going through, had to be the one person he came and told, because it was just like bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
And I just punched the crap out of me, dude. And I was like, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was like, fucking hell. So, and during that time, I noticed that my algorithms on, like, say, YouTube or Instagram, whenever you look at Reels, was slowly starting to go from jokey videos of, try not to laugh challenges. And all of a sudden, this serious, like, men's mental health thing would kick in. I was like, all right, okay. From a podcast with a serious quote behind it. And all of a sudden, another one would turn up. And all of a sudden, my entire reel, my algorithm is filled with this. And I had no idea just how bad men had it at this time period. I knew we were going through some shit. I noticed the attacks that were happening. But again, this is at a time when I thought it was all coincidental. And I wasn't happy with it. I was red pilled from a long time ago in terms of conservatism and woke liberalism and stuff like that. But I hadn't suspected that it was all connected at that time. And I didn't realize just how bad Menley was suffering. It was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I think I've got it bad. And then I started doing some homework, and that's when it really sort of kicked in, and I kind of found this avenue where it's like, I got through my shit. Let me see if I can help someone else,
Big brother is always listening. He's always listening. This is like, I think Google, Facebook has always listening to us on
Yeah.
YouTube. Always.
Yeah.
Always. It's like, bro,
scary.
it's scary, bro. Like,
Yeah. I
and
mentioned it in one of my, sorry, just to carry on, I mentioned it in one of my war journal entries in the book. So I added those in before each chapter. And it's like the one time I was convinced, okay, we might actually be living in a simulation, because this is just scary now. These cookies and everything, they can trace voices and search patterns, but minds, I have an example, and I put it in there, of one where a cookie read my thought. I never verbalized it. I never typed it. I was alone in the room, and it passed from one hemisphere to the other in a split second. I put it to bed, and all of a sudden, I'm seeing adverts for this thing the next day on Facebook. I'm like, how? It never left my head. That's not possible. So when algorithms start tailoring to your mood, that's when things scare me.
so another question is, what helped you build yourself?
Rebuild. It was actually a couple of things, but the main thing that really lit a fire under my arse, if you will, is to really get me out of a rut. And it helped me again when I kind of fell back into a rut later on. So I credit it massively. Is I saw a clip of David Goggins, the motivational speaker, the toughest man on the planet. It was a clip of him on Joe Rogan, and he was asked by Joe Rogan on this clip. It's like, well, what was your biggest fear? And he tells a story about when he was running his first record-breaking marathon, and he had this question too. And he basically said, I imagine myself in the gates of heaven. I pass away, I'm in the gates of heaven, and there's a big queue waiting to get in. And this is at a time when he's done nothing in his life, so he's 300 pounds in weight, and he's still working at pest control. And God is at the gate, and he's interviewing them before he lets them in. And he finally gets to the gate, and God shows him his board and says, David Goggins, you're an Army Ranger, ex-Navy SEAL, motivational speaker, marathon record breaker, pull-up record breaker, all this and all these accolades. And David Goggins says, oh, that's not me. Doesn't sound like me at all. And God says to him, no, that's what you were supposed to have been.
Wow.
And that slapped the shit out of me, because that made me realize he didn't want to disappoint God and waste his life doing nothing. And I'm like, that really punched me in the face, but mentally, the same feeling, the ringing in the ears, the blooded nose, and the clarity afterwards was just like someone had just reached down and punched me in the head in my mind, and it just woke me up. And it lit a fire under my ass to get out of this hole that I was in mentally, and to really move the needle and want to just, as Richard Cooper would say, make a dent in the universe in some fashion, or at least give it my best shot. And if I fail, I'll give it another shot, and I'll keep trying. As long as I've given it my best shot, even if I don't make it or pass away before I do, at least I've got the fucking courage to walk up to God and say, I gave it everything I got. I didn't just sit there watching Netflix.
Yeah.
So that really lit a fire under my ass.
Yeah, this is very true. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is it. This is the end of the podcast. Before we finish, tell people about your book is War of Masculinity. Yes? So, When
Yeah,
does
The War on Masculinity.
So when does it come and where they can find it?
It's going to be releasing the weekend of, I believe, the 21st of March, which I believe is a Saturday. So I think the ebook is going to go live on the Friday beforehand, and then I'm going to get the paperback out after. And there'll be a hardback special edition too with an alternate cover, which will be on a different platform, but there'll be links to all of those in my social medias. And yeah, you'll find them. It'll be on Amazon primarily, but it'll be on other platforms as well, both the Kindle version and the paperback version. And the hardback will probably be sold through a different distributor. But yeah, looking forward to coming out. The War on Masculinity, Unmasking the Hidden Assault on Men, Identity, and the Family. And yeah, really can't wait for this thing to get out there and for people to give it a read.
And if you are here and if you are done a whole episode with us, you can wait too because you must be like ready for this book after this episode. But if you want to deeper part of this conversation, it's available on Hero Hero. Link in this description. And last thing, where can people find you? What is your social media?
Well, I'm a whore and you can find me everywhere. So I'm on Instagram at Alpha Evolves, TikTok, Alpha Evolves, and X, Alpha Evolves. Forgot then. There is a Facebook group out there somewhere, but I haven't done much with it. But primarily, it'll be X and Instagram at Alpha Evolves on there, and you'll find me. And you can keep up to date with the progress of the book launch.
And you can follow him and you can have more details about the book is coming and more stuff. And the link for Ben social media will be below this video. So if you want to more, click it. And yeah, again, thank you guys for episode. Like, subscribe, do comments because comments can help on get algorithms going. And yeah, this was Tony and
Yeah, is it me? Sorry. Yes, thank you for having me on, mate. Appreciate you, and thank you all for watching. And yeah, hope you grab a copy of the book when it's out and enjoy it.
yeah. And
Take care.
this was Tony, and I see you soon on another live episode. Bye, guys. Bye.
See you later.